One common concern that I hear when I talk to people who are interested in adopting digital scores for their musical performances, but hesitant, is just the look of having a bright light on your screen lighting up your face. After all, when you're reading music from a screen, unlike when you're reading from paper, that screen is producing light that is shining on your face, and nobody wants to go to a choir concert and see a whole bunch of singers looking like they're, holding a flashlight under their chin about to tell you a scary story around a campfire. And so, to avoid that, there are a number of features that are built right into the iPad operating system that can help out that I want to tell you about in this video. So, first I'll say these are all built into the iPad operating system, so it doesn't matter whether you're using Fourscore or Music or even just a regular PDF reader like the Books app that's built into the iPad. These will all work exactly the same way. So let's dig in. So I'm going to show you this on my iPad with a camera because these things don't show up the same way in a screen recording. So first of all, I'm here in Fourscore. The first thing, this is the simplest thing you can do, is just to turn down the screen brightness. Because there's a lot of contrast here, black on white, we don't actually need the screen to be super bright to read it. And so if you pull down from the top right corner, you'll see your iPad's control center. Now your buttons around here may look a little bit different. There's things in here that you can control, some things that Apple tries to guess what you will find useful at a given moment, but right here, you should have a little slider for the brightness of your screen. If you're not used to adjusting this, your iPad's probably making this adjustment on its own automatically. Now, if you're in a bright theater, it's probably going to try to compensate for that by making your iPad pretty bright, and you may not need that. And so you can turn your iPad brightness down quite a lot and still be able to read it. And that can get you pretty far. That may get you as far as you need to go. You'll need to test this in your own environment with your own iPad and somebody else looking from the audience to see whether it's noticeable. Next, beyond this simple setting, there are a couple of accessibility settings that are built into the iPad. So accessibility settings were originally created for people who have different kinds of needs for their technology, but accessibility benefits everyone, and Apple is really good at building these features into their operating systems and their software. And so let's take a look at those. To get access to those, we're going to need to go to our device's settings menu. So swipe up, go to settings. If you scroll down, you will find accessibility. And under accessibility, if you swipe all the way down to the bottom, you'll see accessibility shortcut is an option that you have. And you can turn on as many of these as you want. I find these useful for various reasons, but the ones that we're going to take a look at today are Reduce White Point and Smart Invert. So once you've got those on, you can return to your Score Reader app. And to access these, you're going to triple press your sleep-wake button. If you have an iPad like mine that doesn't have a home button, you're going to use the sleep-wake button, which is the button on the top. So this is the top of my iPad. If I tap this 3 times, 1, 2, 3, in rapid succession, you'll see that I get these accessibility shortcuts show up for me. So the first one that I'm going to do is Reduce White Point. Notice that my screen just got a little bit darker. Basically what this does is it makes the darkest point on your brightness slider even darker than it was before. Now be careful with this because you can take this all the way down to a point where it's hard to see what's on the screen, as you can see. But you can get your screen even darker here than you can just by adjusting the brightness settings normally. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can try, and I will admit, this next one is not for everyone. It's a little weird, and I think I don't use it, but I can imagine it being useful, and I can imagine it would take some getting used to. And that is we can invert the colors. So basically, imagine turning your iPad screen into the photographic negative, if I can date myself a little bit, the photographic negative of your own iPad screen, okay? So that's gonna make photos and other images look really weird, but for a simple document that's black and white, it's very easy. all of the white things become black and all of the black things become white. And because the page is mostly blank, that means that the iPad display is going to get a lot darker because it's going to mostly be black and all of the information on it will become white. Let's see what I mean by that. I'm going to turn up the brightness a tiny little bit. And you can use this in combination with the reduce white point setting, or you can use it independently. Whoops, I just turned off my iPad. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to turn on Smart Invert. Whoa. So now my iPad screen is much, much, much darker. And in fact, I can still bring down the brightness because Smart Invert is still on pretty low. And I think with some getting used to, you could totally read a screen like this and it would not have that weird flashlight under the chin effect of trying to read a score from a bright, bright white screen. So these are 3 different strategies you can try. Remember to use Control Center. I think that's the most obvious thing. And for most uses, I think that's probably going to get you where you need to go. If you want to go beyond that, go to your accessibility settings, accessibility shortcut, and turn on the reduce white point setting and the Smart Invert Colors option. And those will let you get access to those other 2 things that I showed you. So thanks for watching. Happy performing on your iPad.